biggest nightmare for an investigator. Knowing the absolute truth and you cannot prove it.
Knowing the absolute truth and you cannot prove it.
That is the worst nightmare for an investigator.
Now here for the second time, one of Kenya's finest detectives and private investigators, Jabez Hosea.
When it comes to rape accusations, I normally tend to equate it to being accused that when in Chawi back at home. I've seen 2 boys who lost their lives like that.
Now this episode is a special dedication to lovers of science na mambo ya forensics. There's something we want to go into, the cost of a fair trial. There are people who are inside because they cannot afford to prove they are innocent.
It is no secret in Kenya that a lot of people behind bars are innocent.
Jabez Hosea is the founder of SOMO Group, a private investigations company dedicated to solving crime through forensic science.
If you can also eliminate the possibility of a third actor, then you might be able to corner me.
So are you saying that dawa ya police brutality ni maziwa na mkate?
Some love might go a long way.
Kama unapenda mambo ya detective series na movies, then you will definitely enjoy this conversation. But they come to think of it. There's a known terrorist. The person is wanted. But in a different setting, you find yourself in an altercation that you have to kill the person. Do you get charged with murder?
Do you feel bad, or do you feel like I've done the world a service?
Our conversation is happening at Wojo, a premium co-working space located in Upper Hill, Makiwa Hotel, ilikuwa formerly Crown Plaza. A premium co-working space inamaanisha they have the whole idea ya office for you. So when you need office space, when you have office needs, you don't have to go furnish space, you need any address. They can give you all that with flexible contracts, and they have very, very beautiful packages that come with getting a space at Wojo: endless supply of coffee, endless supply of printing material, super fast Wi-Fi, and very, very affordable rates. Consumer rate to the quality that you're getting. Before you went to private practice, do you miss active investigation?
Yes, I do.
What about it mostly? Kama, I think you've investigated a lot of murders. Can I say a lot of murders?
Yes.
Why does it take so long to conclude? Like, even in cases where things look obvious, hapa ilienda hivi na hivi, why does it take so long?
When you talk about murder cases,
yes,
and the reason why it drags,
yes,
it's because of what is at stake.
What is at stake?
Yes. In murder investigations, if you leave the obvious bureaucracies of our systems, what is at stake?
Okay.
If you get it wrong, what happens? Somebody who should be in court gets away. Who should be in jail, gets away.
Yes. Yes.
Somebody who should not be in jail goes to jail.
Yes.
And it's not 6 months. It's not 1 year. Sometimes it's a lifetime. And therefore you realize, or you find that, one, the law puts very severe burden to prove it.
To prove it.
Yes. So the burden of proof when you come to murder cases is extremely high, which requires a lot of work, even for the obvious cases.
Even for the obvious cases.
Yes.
In which case, murder is not as simple as the definition of taking a life.
Yes.
What would murder be then as a crime? Because I believe we have a separation. Taking a life is not murder.
Yes. Now let me not define it legally. Let me define it as a forensic investigator, and then also tie it with the legal aspect of it. Murder investigation, or murder in itself, the taking of life itself, the killing, does not amount to murder. Proving murder is also another thing altogether. If you were to prove murder, you'll need actus rea. Yeah.
Act as rare.
Yes. The actual action. Prove the actual action that it occurred.
Yes.
Then you need to prove that there was intent preceding the action. Then you have components of murder. Now, from a forensic investigator's point of view, or rather from a forensic investigation point, you also have to tie it to the doer and remove all possible explanations that might be brought up in the course of trial. You see, and therefore, when you talk about murder investigation for an investigator, it is a big load. You've got to think about, okay, it is clear, straightforward. What if they say it's not that firearm that was used? What if there were 2 firearms in the scene, but you only recovered 1?
Yes.
One mtu alienda nayo.
Yes.
Then what does that become? And what is the implication of that to the whole process?
Yes.
Because, okay, fine, you found a victim's body, you found a suspect, but you cannot find the weapon. You see? So now those are the things that forms the basis for which murder from both a forensic investigation and a legal perspective are different from the ordinary definition of the word murder.
In how make or break are these components in this sense? Let's say, for example, you found someone is dead, but you can't find the weapon, but you have the suspect. If you never find the weapon, the person may walk free on that basis alone.
Yes, but also you need to add that should the triangle not be complete, then you're looking at circumstantial. This person might go to prison if the circumstantial is so clean and clear that no other theory can be introduced. So, for example, we are seated here with the 2 of us, and then you die via a gunshot to your head, right? And I do not move. The police come and they find me here and you're dead. We are just 2 of us. What will you conclude?
It is you.
It is me who was killed, who was shot to death. What if a sniper was on that building over there and took you out while we are seated here? Am I still responsible for your death?
No.
You see?
Yes.
Because now we've not found the murder weapon. The fact that I'm in the scene and the victim is in the scene does not ordinarily or necessarily mean I am responsible.
Yes, or responsible.
So you see, and therefore it means if you can also eliminate the possibility of a third actor, then you might be able to corner me.
Yes.
But for as long as there is another plausible theory, then it means you have not proved beyond reasonable doubt.
Okay. And in your experience, what's the most, I don't know, kama bizarre would make the same definition for me as it is for you. What's the most twisted case you've ever handled, if you can remember?
For me, I think the case, especially back when I still work for government, without saying the exact nature of the case, there was a lady who was shot at the City Park.
Please allow me a few seconds of your time to share a word from our partners who help us make this possible, like Waletea Good Vibes. And not only that, they also have value they would wish to offer you. You're looking for a piece of land, mahali karibu na Nairobi na bei poa, and you want to deal with a reputable company. Allow me to introduce you to Pet Mall Shelters Limited. Pet Mall Shelters Limited were located in Kikuyu, and they have very, very strategically placed plots that are 50 by 100. You have a budget here between 750,000 na 2.2 million. Wako na project ya Nawiri phase 9. Wameuza Zuri phase 1, wamemaliza, sasa wako phase 2, na wako na Prosperity Estate pia. Hiyo kwanza imeshika tama. The plots are strategically placed karibu na stima na maji, so technically this buy and build, zile amenities unahitaji for both residential and commercial, uko sorted. Petmol Shelters Limited is an award-winning land selling company. This falls within your alley, your budget, 750,000 to 2.2 million. I highly encourage you to check out the offers that Petmol Shelters Limited. The contact details ni hizi tumeweka hapa kwa screen. What's the most twisted case you've ever handled, if you can remember?
For me, I think the case, especially back when I still work for government, without saying the exact nature of the case,
yes,
there was a lady who was shot at the City Park a couple of years back.
City Park?
Yes.
Yes.
Ileko next to Huko.
Yes.
And it was so bizarre in the sense that the actual details or the actual nature of how it happened, who did it, you know, I think it was a time when there was a lot of heightened terrorism fear.
Yes.
And then somebody was in a car that was tinted at Kokwa Park, and then, you know, and there were, I think 3 or 4 police officers at the same time. Apple.
Police officers were in City Park?
Yes. And somebody just begins to drive a certain car, tinted windows. And at the time, there was heightened fear for terrorism.
Yes.
Now, wakafungulia risasi, yeah? Unfortunately, a lady died. Some other passenger in the vehicle got hurt.
The lady was not in this vehicle?
Was in the vehicle.
So someone, okay, who is in the tinted vehicle?
A lady and some other person.
So the person opening fire is in the vehicle?
No, outside.
Outside, okay.
Yes.
Yes.
But there are like, let's say, 4 or 5 people outside, all armed and all dispensed.
Yes, yes, yes.
Somebody has died. Yeah. Now, localizing, because I've told you, if you are to place a charge as such,
yes,
then you've got to look at the doer in tandem with the action.
Yes.
You have 4 or 5 people have all dispensed ammunition in a range that is not too wide apart. Yeah. You know, like almost this size. Because they were walking in a group, and then I think it was a field or something like that.
Oh, so now, so that I'm following, people saw this vehicle. Okay, I was assuming that these people had guns, so they opened fire at a car, thinking that it's a terrorist attack.
The people were outside.
People were outside.
Yes.
So at City Park, we have people with guns. Are they licensed civilians?
No, they were officers, police officers.
They are police officers.
Just roaming.
Yes.
You know, mumeambiwa mkienda kazi, be careful huko nje.
Yes.
Tunasikia there is those warnings that likelihood today kutakuwa na terrorist attack.
So someone comes driving a vehicle tinted.
Yes.
Then they all open fire.
And then the lady dies.
Yes.
So of these 5 people, mimi I aimed at the wheel.
Yes.
Mimi I aimed you. Which is standard practice. You cannot hold me for standard practice. I see a car tinted. I decide to shoot the wheels.
Yes.
You cannot hold me liable for that.
Yes.
But now, as a forensic investigator, you've been called. 2 of these 5 people tell us who shot the fatal shot.
And the fatal shot is, assuming this lady got hit by 3 bullets, the 1 bullet that killed her, not these other 2.
Now, again, that one now is a pathologist question to answer. There is cause and manner. So the cause of death
is by gunshot.
The cause of death is for the pathologist to answer.
Oh, okay. The manner of death.
Yes, the manner of death is an investigative issue.
Okay.
You get it.
Yes.
So that, for example, you were shot 3 times. You can survive 3 gunshots.
Yes.
But you can also die. 1 went through your hand, 1 through into your head. Another one went through your chest.
Yes.
Now, the doctor will look at what caused your death. Yeah? Was it exsanguination? Was it instant inflammation of the brain? Because you know when the brain is impacted, it swells. Yeah? Which leads to death.
Okay.
Ukishutiwa kwa mkono, mwingine anakushuti kwa chest, utoroke, uende upate septicemia, ukufe.
Septicemia ni nini?
Infection.
Oh.
So when you have a wound, then
Yes,
you know. So you go get septicemia and then you also die. Then what becomes of that and stuff like that.
Okay. So if 3 people shot one person, and then the pathologist comes and declares the bullet that caused the death, the bullet. Let's say someone shot the hand, another one shot the leg, someone shot the head. So the pathologist can isolate. So if it's a murder investigation, they can go down with the person who made the fatal shot.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, technically it should be that, especially surrounding the circumstance of it.
Sawa.
Yes.
So 3 police officers, mtu anasema alishoot mguu, mtu anasema alishoot juu, mwingine anasema. How do you break it down?
Now, in perfect situations, you should be able to reconstruct that scene. In perfect situations,
yes,
especially if the crime scene has not been tampered with. You see, how I fall down gives a lot of indication how I was standing. Yeah. If a shot came from X place, you see, like if I got shot seated here, how I fall down is in tandem with how I was sitting. Now, other interplay that comes in, gravity. Yeah. So that, for example, if a shot comes through this side, most likely now I'm at pure balance. Impact will slightly bring me this way. But then eventually gravity will drag me.
You calculate all that.
All of that is calculatable and reconstructable.
Yes.
And then the dots, the
splatter,
the blood pattern as it drops, as I fall, is also indicative. I once reconstructed a scene in Kibera of a young man whose case has really been discussed in the media. He was a young man who had gone to UK on scholarship. Unfortunately, he came back to Kenya to visit the parent and then was shot. Up to Kibera.
Yes.
I think it was in 2022, I guess, December. The kijana got shot, I think, 4 times. And one of the now, vile alishutiwa, alikimbia. And the person,
after being shot?
Yes.
Yes.
And the person who shot him kind of followed him. You see?
Yes.
You were able to see a first shot, impact, blood. Second, and now as it's getting the second shot, you can also tell damu sasa inatoka.
Yes.
Na anakimbia. You're able to
follow step by step.
And up to now the point where now he falls down and now there is a pool of blood.
So the person shooting him was purposefully following him to kill him.
Yes. For me, if I was to draw a conclusion, I'd say that because as per my reconstruction back then, the last shot was no more than, also the other thing that happened is the last shot was taken in between a barrier and a wall. So I ran and then you've cornered me. So now we end up facing each other. But then nyuma yako there's a barrier, na mimi my far end there's a wall. So again, now calculating how far this person was from,
you can tell.
Now it becomes obvious. It's not even now a question of expert deduction. It is this a barrier and this a wall. And the last shot was fired here. And unfortunately for the person who shot, it went through him and kagonga mlango. You see, so then there is also further evidence that the last shot was taken from this spot.
Yeah. Were you able to catch the guy?
No, the person was obviously known.
The person who shot him?
Yes, the person was obviously known.
We come back to City Park. The person, were you able to pin the final bullet or the fatal shot? Who?
Now, for City Park, this is what now happened. Because the car was in motion.
Yes.
Yeah. You see, perfect condition is that
Yes.
all factors post-death replicate the immediate prior conditions. However, if you are in motion, the car does not stop immediately. Sometimes even your foot remains in the accelerator position for a bit. So this guy was taking a corner. See, the guys were parked, City Park. And then the officers were approaching the car. And then out of nowhere, gari imewashwa ikaanza kutoka. And I've told you the circumstance. Then they opened fire. Once the person has been shot, he continues for a bit, and then the car inaenda ikaingia mahali. Now, because of that movement, even if you're able to know who was where, and then unfortunately, sometimes officers carry the same type of gun.
But the bullets are different?
No, same bullets.
As in the serial number? I thought that matters. As in the serial number of the bullets. I thought that's what investigators go for.
No, actually no.
Yeah.
It's the print that is left by the firing pin. Because if you're using a 76 mic, you can put it in any G3.
So you cannot narrow down the actual bullet to any of the four.
Yes, and also bullets do not have. Bullets, I don't think have a serialized number.
Yeah. So the person.
A gun has a serial number.
The bullets don't.
Bullets do not have, and also the casing. The casing might have some encryption, probably, of where it was made or whatever, or the size.
Yes.
Yeah, some casings will show these are 9 point something mic. These are 7 point,
Sawa. So we understand the circumstances at City Park, but then in conclusion, after all investigations has been done, do you arrive at why this person started driving away? Were they a terrorist, or were they just scared of the police?
Ordinarily, as an investigator, that factors in and becomes extremely important in understanding motivation.
Yes.
All cases, motivation is a component of investigation and even a component of trial. You see?
Yes.
Sometimes if you kill somebody using a car, the reason why you'll be let go free or sometimes ufungwe is motivation.
Motivation?
Yes. I'm your boss. Yeah? And I fired you last week. Accidentally, unigonge na gari
Yes.
leo. You'll have a very tough time.
It's a mistake.
Yes.
Honest.
Assuming we stay in the same estate and you're just driving in, accidentally unigonge nani pass. There's nobody you'll convince.
Yes.
That it was a normal road traffic accident. But you meet this person you do not know, Mama Mboga tu, umgonge and he passes.
Yes.
Yeah? Because you cannot establish motivation.
Yes.
It plays a factor in your trial.
Okay.
So this person had no reason to kill this person, something like that.
Okay. There's something you mentioned a lot, trial. A friend of mine has this statement, the finality of someone dying. It's final, imeisha, right? The purpose of the investigation is to find someone who did it, all right? Is it as a deterrent? Ama, because this brings an element of tit for tat. In an ideal situation, if someone killed, they should be killed. Like the population has been reduced equally, equal punishment in a form of mindset, right? Why do you think people investigate death in its finality?
I heard somebody once say, the reason why these processes exist, and especially for such,
Yes.
is to maintain the balance of civilization.
Maintain the balance of civilization.
Yes. If, for some reason, I did not think that there's a chance I'd get an equal amount of remedial measure to you for acting in a certain manner,
yes,
then I want to take the action myself.
Okay.
And once I take the action, probably somebody from your end will also feel the need to take similar action towards me. And before you realize, a whole community is taking action against each other. And therefore, things like investigation of issues like murder, where the true victim will not benefit from it, is to maintain a balance in civilization. Yeah.
It's not about the victim, it's about civilization.
Yes, that is a key issue, because, and I think it's also why in certain issues or certain cases you hear that even the state kind of really prevents some kind of arrangements. You see, like the way people can agree to deal with this out of, they say, if you did this, then we'd like to meet you with an equal amount of punishment. That me, the victim's surviving friend, family, and stuff like that, I feel that something of equal measure has been taken from you. And therefore, I do not feel the need of doing it myself.
Is it more, in polite language, in simpler language, is it more like a PR gig? In this sense, I once spoke to someone on this platform, and they mentioned to us of a story of someone they know who has a solid body count, like a person who confessed to them that they've killed very many people, but they have changed. Okay? This person lives around because no one knows. That's to the people he has confessed to, right? But then we have people who are in prison on suspicion that they committed. Then what is your view of justice in that setting alone?
Now, the system can be cheated, unfortunately. Sometimes the system can be wrong, and most times it gets it wrong. The system can be manipulated also, unfortunately. And also the system can be bought. Yeah, you see all those factors put together. But probably in my view, these are two separate issues. Yeah? A person who has committed but is not in prison. Yeah, that is case number one. And somebody who
is suspected of committing.
Yes, suspected of committing. Let's assume they do not commit and is in prison.
Yes.
Those are 2 miles apart. 2 cases that are ziko mbali.
Juu mmoja hajajulikana.
Juu mmoja ako innocent and something has been taken away from them, and they have to live the reality of it each and every day.
But the system does not, in this case, the system does not care about guilt or innocence as compared to the investment in the balance of civilization. This person is inside because the system has to make sure amekaa ndani, sindio? Because something has to be done in the balance of civilization. In this sense, I'm sure in your experience, there are murders that went unsolved.
Many, yes.
Many, which is a very scary thing to say. People who, we have people, in that case, we have people roaming around, we have people living freely. They have killed, but they've not been caught.
Yes.
You understand? So this goes to say, then basi justice is one. Justice is for when you say the system cannot be, because there's something we want to go into, the cost of a fair trial. There are people who are inside because they cannot afford to prove they are innocent.
Yes.
Right? But there are people who are roaming around because they know their way outside the system.
Yes.
Then justice is but lack or?
Yes. So now, justice as a system. You know, there's justice, the verb. Yeah. When we say God is just. Yeah, we are saying God as a verb is just, is fair, is balanced. To each is given according. So we say God is just. So the system that we call justice system tries to replicate or mimic justness, the verb. Yeah. So unfortunately, sometimes the processes or the manner in which we come to justice is very skewed. If you look at Project Justice, one of the things we say is that sometimes the process is the hindrance to justice.
Okay.
You see?
Yes.
You've raped somebody.
Yes.
Right? But they are required to take your semen in the form of their inner clothing to some place X to be done for ABCD. It is required that they, if accidentally that sample was contaminated, you know, there's no way you can take me because you cannot put me at the scene, other than, for example, that person's word. The vice versa is also true. You see, you've accused me. And we've also said the system can be bought. Yeah, somebody has reasons and means to fabricate a case against you. And they're doing it in a manner that appears to be in pursuit of justice.
That happens.
It happens.
You've seen that. In fact, you sent me one.
Ukumbuki, there is somebody who, I think earlier this year or late last year, got picked for having some drugs, sijui where, yeah? Yeah?
Yes.
And according to her friends, hajawahi hata.
Yes, they never.
You know.
Yes.
So, why not for the fact that probably that person also had a means? Wini mutu, they can find themselves yes. And it goes. And trust me, you can't be forgotten.
Wow.
Yeah, you can be forgotten in the system.
Yeah, okay. When you investigate during your time, do you investigate to know what happened, or do you investigate to catch the suspect? Investigate to know what happened, or investigate to know who did it?
The primary, the end goal is to catch the perpetrator. That is why, especially if you talk from a public investigation point of view, that is the goal. Yeah. If you talk from, for example, a journalistic point of view, is to get to the bottom of the truth.
Okay.
You see, so those are two different approaches. However, when it comes to government investigations, it's a question of who did it and can we deal with them, because it's an offense against the state.
Okay.
So we'd like to know, so that if you came to your team leader with two reports, one with a proper story of how it happened,
yes,
and no suspect,
yes,
and another one with a suspect, but the details are not very clear.
Yes,
yeah?
yes.
We'll go with the one that with the suspect.
Oh, really?
Because that is the one that we can say, okay, fine. We're not very clear on his involvement, but enyewe tulimpata kwa scene. Yeah.
Or the suspect is ranks higher than what happened.
Yes, the suspect is our means to
What
knowing
happened?
what we are going to do to somebody because of this action, we already know.
But we have people who, hey, bad news is if you are the wrong suspect.
And it also happens.
It also happens.
Yes.
And have you been in a place where you've gotten the wrong suspect? So do you feel when you get the wrong suspect, does it now become your responsibility to let him, as in to prove that he's not, ama it's his responsibility to prove he's not?
If you are the investigator, yeah? If you are the investigator. Okay, now this also happens during investigation. That I have a working theory.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a working theory.
Yes.
Let's use the example we were sat here. That you and I were sitting here and you got shot. An officer comes here and finds me and you're dead or dying there. And mimi nimekaa hapa, I'm worried, I'm sweating and whatever. And I'll be okay, fine. You gentleman, give us the gun you've used to kill this man. I mean, I don't have any gun. Yeah. Yes. We were just sat and we just had a shot, It now kind of comes back to me to explain then what happened. You see, it is like it has shifted from him, because him is now having a working theory. Yes. And this is the basic form. This is the working theory. What do I have to say for myself? Okay. Then he will evaluate that against his working theory. You see?
That's already biased.
How so?
Because if you have a working theory, that means your mind is already set. Last time you told us that you do not approach investigations with a fixed mindset.
True.
So if you come with a working theory, it means you're already coming with your ideas of your own.
Okay, let me give you a good example. I don't know if I can say this, but let me we find somebody has been raped.
Okay.
Yeah. In your mind, who do you think is the suspect in terms of gender?
Okay, a man somewhere.
You see.
You
see. So they sometimes, especially in experienced investigators,
yes,
have working theories that come from
patterns.
Yes. So they say, this one. For example, people who rob banks.
Yes.
An investigator will just tell you, Nimluya, funga, deploy people, ile boda ya huku.
Yeah, that's how they...
Because automatically you want to run to your comfort zone.
That's how they catch... It's a system. Let's say, for example, part of investigations, like someone is being hunted. That's how they are able... The profile, once you get the profile of the person you're looking for, that's how it's very easy to track them. And
cold case readers. Yeah, when I started, I told you that some of the best case readers are in the police service. Yeah, and it comes from years of experience. People who have done this for a very long time, they'll be able to tell you things about cases at the onset. That as an upcoming investigator, you'll just go patching them in.
Yes. And tell us something about processing a crime scene before we talk about cost of a fair trial.
Exactly. In terms of processing a crime scene.
Yes. Like when someone has been killed, for example, right? Do you know someone from a background of your experience? Is it right to say someone who's been trained to your level can kill someone and get away with it?
Yes.
100%.
Absolutely.
Such that even an experienced investigator will not find anything.
Yes. Because if there's nothing to find, then you'll not find it. Yeah. So the whole process, the whole point of examining a crime scene is establish one, it's a crime scene.
Establish it's a crime scene?
Yes.
Okay.
So that is part A. Part B, establish who created it or who caused it.
Sindio? Yes.
It's a crime scene, who caused it, and what was used to cause it.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
so now those are three elements any crime scene investigator is looking for. Is this a crime scene?
But you can also investigate a designed crime scene. In this sense, I've seen documentaries on how Mossad and CIA design, like, in fact, we actually discussed that on the Wicked Edition. They are designers of death. Like, someone can design how someone is killed, some you never even hear of. Like, whatever, make it look like an accident.
Absolutely.
So you will investigate an accident, but it was not.
It was not an accident. Those are all possibilities because, you know, once you understand the mind of the investigator, then you can feed them the clues,
and they can make conclusions.
Yes, the fingerprints, you know, this and that and the other. This is a crime scene. We have 2 glasses of water, but we find 1 body. We'll automatically assume there were 2 people sat here. One, the victim alikuwa anakunywa moja, hiyo ingine ni huyo mtu mwingine alitoka. However, I also introduced this glass purposefully to entrap a third person. You see, so I'm misleading the investigator based on the things I know he'll be looking for.
And that happens in the real? Yes.
Now, sometimes, especially, for example, if you talk about amateur offenders, people who find themselves in the wrong place, they've seen these things on TV, and then they try to recreate them. There's this issue that happened sometime, I think Mirema or somewhere, where somebody tried to chop somebody into parts.
But that person was never found.
Definitely, they were never found. But it is my thinking, they thought they can chop this body into parts and be able to
ship it
out, you see, and clean that place into perfection. So that is an attempt of somebody trying to cheat a crime scene and then come and clean it up properly, rudishia mwenye nyumba kifungu. Mwenye nyumba is not trained in anything. They just, what's that smell? You know, we'll call the cleaning lady to come and clean, you see, and it gets away. For some, it's different, Some people want to pass away the blame, point people into other direction. Some even want to pass the blame on the victim, if it's, for example, murder or suicide, like that. So that it looks like suicide. I write a note and say, nimechoka, na maisha, mpenzi wangu aliniwacha, you know, things like that, and it comes.
And did you ever deal in your time, did you ever deal with an expert, an expertly created crime scene that was meant to lead another way?
Yes.
And at what point do you catch on?
Ordinarily, the pieces begin to misalign.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Eventually, you'd begin to see, hii hapa ni kama I add up. There is a case, that I did. Unfortunately, that is one of those cases that I was unable to solve. It happened in huku pali 2 rivers iko inaitwaje?
Not Runda, Ruaka?
Yes, Ruaka, on that other side, where somebody was shot and it was properly dealt with, unfortunately. And the facts of the case are known, and even witnesses who are willing to say behind the scene what happened are there, but are not willing to talk about it on record. But how it was treated and how it was dealt with and how it was made to look like. Unfortunately, the person who was killed, the victim, was a firearm holder.
Yes.
You see, that even complicates issues further.
The person who's been killed is a licensed firearm holder.
Yes.
So in this case, I'm assuming it's been made to look like he killed himself.
No, he fired first.
Oh.
You see?
Yes.
Because you cannot tell between gun A and gun B which one fired first.
Yes.
So me, if I tell you, as we return the fire.
Okay.
And clearly, he had his side arm up, which we have also fired 2-3 rounds for purposes of consistency with our story.
Oh, so the other gun has also been fired?
Yes.
Okay.
So now, as an investigator who has this at the back of your mind, but now the thing I was telling you earlier, the motivation. Why would person X be doing this?
Yes.
Under these circumstances? You find, no, there is a missing.
Did you have, okay, when you say the facts of the case are known, it means you have the suspect, like the other person who fired?
Yes.
But they are not injured? They are not,
No, absolutely. They are just okay.
So then why is it difficult to solve, yet from what you say, it seems like there are witnesses?
Because now the witnesses are not willing to come on record. So now the only statement you have on record is for the person you're considering a suspect. Na yeye anakuambia me I returned the fire.
Ala? So they have to, as in, there is nothing you can do. You know the facts, like you know ukona witnesses, the issue is coming on record.
I can tell you this for sure. The biggest mental burden for investigators is that they know the truth, and most truths they cannot prove.
Is that how the police justify ikitu they know someone is doing something wrong, but every time they go to court, they are let free because of lack of proof or judicial process?
Yes.
They decide to do away with that person once and for all.
Yes. It's called rationalization of devious actions. It becomes easier for them and justifiable for them mentally to deal with it that way. Let me give you a good example. There's a young man who assaulted a police officer not too long ago. Yeah?
Yes.
Akashikwa. Akapelekwa ndani ya station.
Yes.
You get?
Yes.
Huyu jamaa, any officer ule alikuwa anamweka makofi huko ndani, they were feeling he has deserved that kind of beating.
Yes.
How can he do? You see, ordinarily, if it was just another person amekuwa arrested, they will not go through that kind of beating. So that explains to you what we mean by mental rationalization of an action. And sometimes, and unfortunately, because some of these police officers, some of these officers who are here and there doing very good job, you come to the process. One, you can buy a case at the prosecution level.
You can buy a case?
Yes. You pay a prosecutor to tank it. You can buy a judge to tank the case. You can frustrate witnesses. You see?
Yes.
If you're dealing with hardcore criminals, once they're out on bail or whatever, the amount of risk that you mount on an officer who has to patrol the same areas every day is doubled or even tripled.
But this is double-edged, and I can see it now, because for that same reason you're saying, let's say releasing a person could be a danger, this same statement can be used on an innocent person to keep them inside for longer.
Yes, and it also happens again and especially for innocent people without money. Let's bound a certain type of case that requires an amount of bail that you cannot afford. You'll end up kukaa ndani for way too long. But then you're right again. In us so saying, we'd put you away for way too long unnecessarily.
Yes.
But then I also know that the law errs on the side of not disadvantaging you without facts. So police officers, for example, in this case, are at the receiving end of these processes. You see, but you see, they say, wait, tumekupatia bunduki bana utajilinda. But because the law would like to not disadvantage you and take your freedom before proving you're guilty. At the risk of what you might do when you go out there.
Tell us about Project Justice, and the best way to actually break it down, where do you get involved with this? When you explain to us how you get involved with Project Justice as an investigator, it will help us tie to the cases that you have dealt with and why it's very important.
Okay. When you talk about Project Justice, think about defense.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yes.
Think about defense.
Yes.
And also think about accused persons. For a moment, forget about victims. Talk about the accused persons and talk about defense. Like I've mentioned, previously I've worked for government and as an investigator. And I know what happens or what goes into building a case. No investigator brings exculpatory evidence to a case they take to trial. There's no point of taking a case to trial if you're going to bring evidence to set me free. Then don't bring charge against me in the first.
Yes.
In the first place.
Yes.
Now, what if I'm having evidence that does not make sense? 3/4 points to the fact that it is you. This a quarter, mi nanisumbua sijui. What do I do with it? I exclude it. Let's go to trial with what we have.
Yes.
Wewe uende
Ujipange.
ujitetee uko mbele.
So, as an investigator, you could know that there's a possibility the person you're going after is innocent, 25% innocent in this case.
Yes. Actually, an investigator's job is not to prove a case beyond reasonable doubt. That's why we have trial. Ours is to build a prima facie. Show that you have a case to answer.
Okay.
You see?
And there's a possibility that 75% evidence could be pointing that you did something, but you did not.
Absolutely.
And there's a chance that you could go with 75% proof that you did something. You go inside, you get locked up, but you did not do it.
Yes. And that is why Project Justice comes in.
Okay.
Because part of proving that the prosecution is wrong sometimes might need expertise, ability, not just legal arguments.
It's not like when someone is accused, right? When someone is accused, like let's say, and this is very dangerous. As in, do you know, like just the idea of accusation of rape, that is as good as a sentence.
Absolutely. For men, it is absolutely.
As good as a sentence. In fact, one of the files you sent me is a Project Justice of a 17-year-old woman who had accused a guy of rape, right? And this goes along the lines here, and this is a very sensitive one. The victims may also not be innocent, as we say.
Yes.
Give us an example using that case, for example.
Okay. When it comes to rape accusations, I normally tend to equate it to being accused that we ni mchawi back at home. When ukiaccused we ni mchawi, ni kitu hainanga defense.
You cannot defend yourself.
How do you show
you are not
an
agent of Satan?
You get.
Yes.
So it always boils down to a rumor that you hope it will die. Now, the same thing when it comes to rape accusations. For men, for example, it is very defeating.
Yes.
For your friends, it is equally defeating.
Yes.
They will start walking away.
Mhm.
And especially if there are parts and pieces. For example, you gave a lady a ride. You
Mhm.
get? So that we can substantiate ndiyo ulimbeba.
Yes.
Let us assume you didn't do it, but ulimbeba. I'm like, nyewe hata ulikuwa unambeba kwa nini? You get?
Yes.
So you find that certain indications begin to put you in the mix, but you did not, for example, were not involved in it. So now let me give you for the case you've highlighted. Yeah? For sexual, for rape accusations mostly,
Yes.
for girls who are over 18 sometimes, and they probably live with their parents. When they happen to get caught in that situation,
Yes.
they turn against their so-called lovers.
Sijakuelewa. A girl
Mm-hmm.
over 18
Mhm.
who lives with their parents
Yes.
can decide to turn against their lover
Mm-hmm.
and accuse them of rape, or in this case, they've been raped.
No, accuse them of rape even when it was not rape. And this is how sometimes you've seen it play.
Yes.
Your parent has discovered you've been sleeping with that man.
Yes.
Na amekupata red-handed.
Yes.
For example, ulitoroka usiku. For you know the way people like elope and they come with something.
Yes.
Think to that tune. Nilienda kufanya hivi alafu akanichukua akanifungia, you know.
Yes.
So when you went, but now umepatikana, and now your parent is taking up this issue with you, it is easier and safer for you to accuse that person na unakufa nayo hivyo.
And we have cases.
Yes. Okay. Yes, like that.
Yes.
That mimi ilinifanyikia, that yeye alinilazimisha, you know, stuff like that. Number two, your parent is so angry with that person that
they want to teach them a lesson.
Yes. And because you live under the roof of your parent, unapata sometimes your testimony is in line with what is the expectation based on the parent you live with. And therefore, men have suffered that as one of those issues that are likely to come up in trial.
So are you endorsing older women?
For no, it's not what I'm saying.
As in, is it a safe zone? Is this to say, before you break that down, is this to say that avoid young women staying with their parents even if they are over 18 as a safety measure?
Age, from my experience, age difference is a key issue.
What do you mean age difference?
As in, if for example you're 35, yeah,
yes,
or even 30,
yes,
and this is a 20-year-old living with the parents, yeah,
yes,
that's a very skewed argument.
Avoid.
The victim will always be considered a victim, and everything they say will always be considered the truth.
The younger person will always be considered a victim.
Yes, ordinarily, because based on their, for example, age and gender, they fit a victim description.
Okay.
You, based on your gender and age also, you also look at the stereotype of an aggressor.
Suspect is a stronger word. So now, we were breaking down the case, for example. You've given us the example of what happens. Like, let's say, for example, someone lives with their parents and...
Yes.
Are you saying that this is what you suspect happened in the case of someone who's been accused of rape in that example you sent me?
No, that is not what happened. What happened is, for example, in this particular case, somebody developed problems post engaging in sex.
Okay.
And because they live again with their parent, they were compelled to go get medical attention.
Yes.
Which was established that they had engaged in
Yes.
sexual
Yes.
act.
Yes.
And now they had to say what happened.
And then now,
Yes.
because I've seen the differences in the dates.
And
They
the
engage-
times, and you know.
Yes. So they decide to round off to the nearest.
So now, si nimepelekwa hospitali na nimesema, anyway, so, and you see, this person's confession
Yes.
was kind of forced out of them, yeah? Because you are having this problem. You cannot tell us X, and, you know, and it also happened that, you know, once now that came out, they were able to now say, you know, the truth is, so-and-so did this to me. This person they mentioned is a local guy known in that area. And that person, you know, gets picked, and you have 2 witnesses, you know, and then you know your issues done.
And the charges are rape.
The charges are rape.
So for the most part, in an ideal situation, if you don't come in as Project Justice, this guy is going down.
Yes. If this person cannot afford competent defense, investigative, and forensic counter review of the documents or whatever is being put forth, then he has a very slim chance of success, because they will rely on the documents on the table. Let's discuss that case just a bit further. Now, because there was sex earlier that day,
Yes.
it means the doctor examining atapata nini? Penetration.
Yes.
Because ukienda kukutana na alleged boyfriend, for example,
Yes.
you went with your friend alikusindikiza, it also means you have a witness. So now you are a man in a very tight spot. And then there is no problem in rape cases than saying ndio alinipatia lakini it was willing.
Maze mtu asifikirie na check articles, that's nini. Ni vile umesema a man in a very tight spot.
Yeah.
Akili yangu ikaenda.
I quoted it to kwa accused that you are wewe mchawi.
Yes.
Aina defense. You cannot demonstrate that way, see?
Do you think the idea that, to start with, the idea that is, first of all, is there a punishment for someone who creates a false rape accusation?
Although it would be a stretch to try and pull it.
Is it there?
No, expressly no. Yeah. However, I think there are sections of the law that addresses like misleading a public officer, because if you create a false rape, it means you've gone to the police station and registered an official complaint and misled a public officer.
Are you saying? No. You know, if you're accused of rape, first of all, even before the punishment, that accusation in itself is something else.
Terrible.
Are you saying that there is no equal cause of action to the person who creates a false accusation? Should you, as a man, go through the process and prove that the accusation is false?
No, there isn't.
And from Project Justice, seems like this, as in false rape accusations, is one of the major issues people are dealing with out there.
Yes, statistically, that is one of the things that a lot of people who are financially not capable have to deal with. And especially when they are innocent, they have to struggle to prove that I've been accused of X and I did not do it. And there is no amount of words that I can say that can convince anybody. I need to demonstrate it.
demonstrating.
Mm-hmm.
There is demonstrating, and there is one thing, like let's say, for example, you find yourself in a crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
Someone, two things happen.
Mm-hmm.
If you found someone hit by a vehicle on the road,
Mm-hmm.
and as a motorist, you pick this person, take them to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
This country is set in a way that
Mm-hmm.
you are likely to go down as the person who knocked them,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and you are just helping.
It's true.
Right?
Especially kama ulikuwa na dent from previous weeks.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It can be pinned on you, and they can actually go with this, and it could actually land you in serious trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Now and then,
Mm-hmm.
if you find yourself,
Mm-hmm.
like let's say you stumble upon someone who's been killed,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
What should you do? You have nothing to do with that. If you decided to go without doing anything, to mind your business, the investigators will come. They can even pick your shoe and come, place you at the scene.
Yes.
You had nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
What should someone do under those circumstances? Because I understand that they say just telling the truth, ati showing up and awambia askari, ati oh ni aje, actually could be more trouble.
It goes a long way to help you if you can if you are forthcoming.
Forthcoming.
Yes, as in, imagine you walking out of a crime scene where there is a murder victim, and then on your way out, ukutane na mtu. So you see, we're already having witness number one.
Placing you at the scene.
At the scene. And the fact that you are there actually, your shoe prints can also be found. So huyu mtu ulikutana na yeye, wewe ulimpita tu ukaenda. You see? But if you come there for the first person, it's a different case. Let me give you a good example. I think back, yes, I was still back, still use for government.
Yes.
Somebody, for some reason, I don't know how it happened, but alijipata na bunduki kwa nyumba.
They don't know where the gun comes.
Yes. Now, I was one of these guys who probably stays in East London. I don't know if it was one of these places. I don't know kama mtu alikuja come visit, akaiwacha or whatever. But in his house, there is a firearm.
Yes.
Yeah? Do I take it to the police? Do I move out and never look back?
Yes.
What do I do? So it's a very tricky situation.
What should someone
trust me, if you show up to
a police station
with an AK-47,
yes,
nimeipata tu kwa chini ya kitanda. It so happens that this gun has killed people.
You have to.
You can find yourself in very hot soup. However, again, anyway,
what should someone do? Because people find themselves in this situation.
In a perfect situation, in a perfect situation where all systems are working, okay. I would be able to advise somebody. You end up to report issue. Like me, don't take it from me. Yeah? Things can turn
ugly
very fast.
Oh dear Lord. So Project Justice comes in for the people who find themselves in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yes.
Am I in a wrong setting?
So this is what Project Justice does. One of the things it does is that we help victims of prosecution.
Victims of prosecution.
Yes.
Yes.
Ordinarily, at that point, we do not know whether you are innocent or not.
Okay.
So we do not get into the facts of whether or not you are innocent. We'd like to proceed with the people we believe are likely innocent. You get?
Yes.
We'd like to proceed with people that we believe are likely innocent.
Yes.
And be part of their defense trials.
Yes.
Both the investigation and forensics.
Yes.
Now, the Project Justice incorporates the victim of prosecution's advocate, so that the advocate can relieve us at any time when they find the evidence we are collecting is more incriminating than exculpatory.
Okay.
You get?
Yes.
So that you're saying you've been accused of stealing. Our investigation, we've scouted through the area, we've talked to a few guys, tumepata few CCTVs here and there. Tunakupata bwana ulikuwa umebeba mzigo ukie.
Yes.
You know, that is evidence we're going to present to you and your lawyer. And your lawyer has the right to relieve us at that point, yeah? That as the Project Justice team, yeah? We...
Wachieni hapa, wacha si tukadanganyane kisisi.
Tuko sawa sasa. We're okay, we'll proceed from here. Now, for the people who are truly victims of prosecution and need help, because Article 50K, yeah, says you have that right to examine evidence placed against you. So Article 50 in its entirety talks about fair trial.
Yes.
And Clause K specifically says one of the attributes of the fair trial is you to properly examine all evidence placed against you in trial. So now tell me, if that is one element of fair trial, but wewe ujui DNA inafanana aje?
So fair trial, let's establish, fair trial is not about guilt or innocence.
No.
Fair trial is if you are guilty and you beat the system based on the system incompetence, that's a fair trial.
Yes, technically it was a fair trial. Wrong judgment, but it's all factors required to have a fair trial were given to you.
In this sense, let's give an example. Vybz Kartel has been released after, I think, 13 years in prison, okay? He's been released on, can I say a technicality?
Yes.
So, it's not about whether he killed the guy or not. It's not about whether he's involved or he was involved in the guy's death or not. It's about how the process was.
Yes. And he did not get a fair trial.
As in, he was not found guilty the wrong way or innocent the right way.
He was found guilty the wrong way.
He was found... So he could be guilty.
Yes.
But he was found guilty the wrong way.
Yes. Their process, yeah? The fair issue of fair trial was taken away from him. And that is a very strong ground for challenging trials. So what Project Justice tries to do is, on the strength of that Clause K of Article 50, provide people, and especially people who cannot buy their own expertise, with an opportunity to get fair trial by way of properly examining evidence and elite investigative solutions.
Someone comes to you, you investigate, as in they want your services for a case, and you find they're actually guilty, and you present them with evidence that is incriminating. So you, as an entity, the council decides to relieve you. They don't need your service. Wacha tujipange kutoka hapa. What's your next step? Let's say, for example, you're investigating, someone has been accused of murder. You investigate, you find, by the way, this guy is actually guilty. They decide to relieve you. Do you now go back to pick another case, but knowing that, hey, by the way, that's the person who did it? What's your next course of action?
Okay. Ordinarily, this is what would happen. Yeah. Once we are done, we are done. You get. We serve at the request
of
the
hiring authority.
The hiring authority in this case. Now, in this case, again, the hiring authority is not because they pay us. All Project Justice work is pro bono work. Nobody, even you as you come, we do not bill you. And that helps us retain our objectivity and
It's not about money. Okay.
integrity of service.
Mhm.
We are working for the science. We are working for the facts. But you retain the right to retain us in the process or not. If you find that we are mnakuja na hii taribu,
Mmekuja sana,
mmekuja sana,
Yes.
you're like, okay, fine, let us leave it at that. And by at that point, you will go deal with your own issues.
Shouldn't the formula be
Mhm.
exclusive for innocent people, and you, as in it be for people who you are sure
Mhm.
are innocent but have no way of proving
Mhm.
they're innocent, instead of people coming through trying to use the science to beat the system?
Yes. So that is our biggest nightmare as a Project Justice initiative, helping somebody get away. It is our biggest nightmare because it's an actual reality. And the reason why it's an actual reality is because of poorly done investigations and scientific examination processes. You see? So that is our biggest nightmare. However, what we have done process-wise is we have set a few controls.
Okay.
For example,
Yes.
we take your case if, number one, you're not a repeat offender.
Repeat offenders have a likelihood of the intention to game the system.
Yes, that is one. Or two, there's a high likelihood that you've been accused of raping 3 or 4 people.
Oh, so the concept of repeat offender actually is a determinant in on whether someone is a criminal or not.
For us, it carries weight because we do not have too much resource. We do not have too much time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but it could also mean that someone who is deemed a repeat offender could be innocent of the new accusation.
Yes. But now, because we do not want to stretch it, we're saying, we're fine. Let us deal with the person who is being accused for the first time of this offense.
Okay.
So that is one way we are trying to just limit the chances that we are helping somebody, releasing them back. They do it. Again, you back to be assisted.
Now that you introduced resource, what's the likelihood? What does 100% success rate of Project Justice when resources are not an issue?
In the Kenyan context, and this one I would say without fear of contradiction, as they say, if resource was not a problem, well, number one is that a lot of people who don't need to be behind bars would be able to prove their innocence. Absolutely. It is no secret in Kenya that a lot of people behind bars are innocent.
A lot of people behind bars are innocent.
Innocent.
Because they cannot afford to prove they're innocent.
Yes.
Just that.
Yes. That is one. Two, there is an absolute fascination with the concept of experts.
Yes.
Ukisikia tu expert witness. And this one I fault the legal fraternity. A lot of them switch off. A testimonial witness will be cross-examined with stealth. Yes. You get? The lawyer will show up with all manner of questions, trying to trap you and trick you into getting that you're lying. But for expert witnesses, they are clueless. And I'm telling you, most of those reports presented before court that have taken people behind bars are full of errors. They're full of problems. Some answer the wrong questions. We've dealt with a lot of cases where somebody has been accused of, for example, brewing changa. And the case where they're brewing changa, the expert who examined this thing to prove it was changa did not examine as to whether it is changa.
Is that the case where someone was caught as in charged with possession of ethanol?
Yes.
Okay.
So they did not even establish if it was ethanol. So you tell me, you're in court with an expert report of a substance that the only person who calls it ethanol is the police officer who arrested you with it. The expert was told, establish one, if this was ethanol. They did not.
Yes.
2, establish the alcohol content by volume. And then establish concentration and whether it is rectified. This person goes, their calculation for the alcohol concentration is wrong. You look at it and you're like, hey, I think I've been out of campus a bit too long.
How does that play in terms of alcohol concentration versus volume of alcohol?
Volume of alcohol in alcohol is the amount of pure alcohol in presence of the total liquid. Part of it is water, part of it is alcohol. Now, how concentrated it is means, or to tell you whether it is rectified, like the process of making it alcohol. You know that process, and then So if it is done over and over again, now you tend to head towards pure alcohol as a spirit. Now you'll be able to know this is exactly what we're dealing with, how it was made, blah, blah, blah. Now, alcohol, a solution that is alcohol past a certain whatever is prohibited. And that makes a problem.
Yes.
So now the expert needs to calculate
and prove
and establish this was this much.
Okay.
Now imagine the expert cannot calculate the amount of alcohol in what is coming to testify to be alcohol. They have not established whether it is ethanol, and you look at this and you wonder and you say, this person was going to jail. Had this wakili not had this information to cross-examine the expert witness.
And that's how some people get clipped into the system.
Yes.
Because of not following due procedure or not affording. As in, that's a missing link in some of the cases of people who are inside.
True, yes.
How do people get in touch with Project Justice?
Yes, now, Project Justice, you can get through Project Justice from our website, where ordinarily your advocate or your wakili will be able to reach out to us. Or you can also reach out to us, but we'll still send you to your wakili.
Yes.
Because all cases we take must have a wakili present.
Okay.
Because it is his strategy. It is his defense strategy we are enabling. We are not, you are the victim, but we are not directly working for you. You do not know what to do with your trial. It is your wakili who is working with you. So once you get in touch, we are able to work with them and walk with them through this process.
Okay.
Court documents, prosecution documents that have been presented to them, what do you have? Do they make sense from an investigative and forensic point of view?
Yes.
And what does it mean and how does it come into play?
Okay.
What expert witness is bullshitting the court? Because unfortunately, nobody is there to cross-examine or to call the witness out for calling the wrong things. Yes. And it is very easy to misread science. You get?
Very easy to misread science.
Extremely easy to misread science. And something that looks like this could be easily be determined to be this.
Something else.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you're not careful, you can miss those facts out. Also, it is easy for an expert to bias the judge. Yes.
Okay. So before we close, something interesting. You've dealt with victims of extreme atrocities, murder, rape, but murder specifically, victims of murder. Have you dealt with people on the other side? the people who commit murders. What is your profile of people who do that? There are people who regret, are there people who enjoy committing murders?
Unfortunately, the kind of caliber of people who I'd say fall in that category, I have not dealt with any directly. Yeah. However, the ones that I have dealt with, based on the previous work I did for government, were people who ordinarily you'd say they find that by having killed somebody, they have done a good service to society. In the sense that the person they killed or eliminated, they felt, for example, imagine if you are responsible for killing a known terrorist. Do you feel bad, or do you feel like I've done the world a service?
Does the system consider that a service?
Probably if you did it the wrong way, they don't consider that a service. But you, as a person, how do you look at it?
But they come to think of it. There's a known terrorist, right? A known terrorist. Probably the government wants, the person is wanted. But in a different setting, you find yourself in an altercation that you have to kill the person. Do you get charged with murder?
No, not on that basis. Because if there was an altercation, then it means probably there's a likelihood you had reason to. But assuming you remove the altercation.
Not remove the altercation.
You'll be charged.
You'll be charged with killing someone the government is looking for because they want to kill that person.
Okay, you'll be charged with killing a person, which is an offense. Just because somebody is wanted, you do not get the right to take them out.
In that example you gave, umegonga mtu na gari labda, for example, umegonga mtu na gari, hit and run, ikaenda. Alafu the police investigate wapate, huyu jamaa ndio tulikuwa tunatafuta. But you also uko na ngodi ya hit and run. Will you be charged for doing police work?
Yes, unfortunately, yes. You will, because those are two separate issues.
So you'll be punished for making the government's job easy.
Yeah. Huyu jamaa tulikuwa tunatafuta, hata ni wewe ulimshika, so mtakuwa huko kwa cell pamoja. Especially kama hakukufa tuseme.
Yes.
But umefanya hit and run. Yeah, which is an offense.
Okay.
Although the person you hit was also on the run.
So in essence, the people you have interacted with for killing other people, they have found a way to rationalize that it was justice too. Like they did something good for society.
Yes. Now for those limited number, is they feel the person I killed last week killed somebody. The other week robbed somebody at gunpoint. This, So for me, I do not understand why you're even here.
As a person who is investigating such, for example, do you believe their point of view?
I by believe, what do you mean?
In this sense, like someone tells you, like they bring you into their world, why they killed person ABC. Are you allowed to agree with them under those circumstances? Like, hey, by the way, you did the world a service. As in, can you shake on it? Yes.
And say
yes, kazi poa.
No, but you kind of see where they come from. You kind of see where they come from, and almost
you see where they come from.
Yes. Let me give you a very good mild example. Police officers during riots. Yeah?
Yes.
Ukiona vile wanatuanga watu marungu.
Yes.
And then you go hear the stories behind their preparation to come there. Yeah? Hawajakula. Wengine have been back to back on this assignment. Yeah? Nyinyi watu wa media mmekuwa mkiwaita ma D+, yeah, you know, this person on that street, in the sun, in the tear gas themselves, akikupata, yeah, the frustration is doubled for any human being.
So are you saying that dawa ya police brutality ni maziwa na mkate? Like ukienda kwa riot, na umejibebea hata mandazi mahali.
Some love might go a long way.
Yeah. So unataka kusema hiyo hasira yote inakuanga somehow ni njaa na mashida zingine.
I think the problem is the problem is no, for me I think is you kind of understand where they
you understand from. The rationalization.
Yes, where they come from. They're still doing the wrong thing, but you get, I get, you know, I get why you did what you did. Oh, another one, good example. There is this Samuel L. Jackson's movie where he killed a man who had raped the daughter. I don't know if you can't remember the name.
Yes, even before he started kunyoa kipara.
Yes, you know.
I remember that nini.
Yes. So in such a movie, even you as the person watching it, you feel like, I feel where he's coming from. I don't like that he has killed this person.
Reciprocity, yes.
But I see where he's coming from. So that's the same situation with some of these cases. When you wear their shoe, you're almost like...
You understand. But you have to be punished even if I understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me give you a scenario. Tukifunga, one of the best movies I've watched this year. It was Greedy People. Two police officers, let's say, on beat. Then he's dropped off his friend to a fling, right? So he goes, he gets a call of a burglary. Then this officer goes into the house, and the owner of the house gets violent, akamurukia. And then they started kuzungushana, and when he set himself free, somehow, the lady falls kwa mgongo as in behind the head, and hits her head. As she falls behind and hits her head and dies. Right? When his co-officer comes, right, they start looking for who to pin that murder on, versus him reporting what exactly happened. When he reports what exactly happened, from the point of I, who was watching the movie, he did nothing wrong. Actually, there's a high possibility the owner of the house would have killed him. Yet he was responding to a call innocently, right? So I'm asking you now, if you find yourself in a situation, you have done nothing wrong, but the atrocity, hakuna mtu atakuamini, right? You know very well, no one will believe you, be it the police, be it you. I wonder if the police don't watch movies, what should you do?
That's a tough one. For an ordinary person,
For an ordinary person.
It's extremely hard, because then you do not know how to navigate these things. You likely suspect you not get away with it, with the truth. Yeah, you not get away with the truth.
Yes.
And a lie.
And you not get away with the truth.
When you know, I will not get away with this truth. Probably let me lie so that, you know. But personally, I think having been through this investigative life, having been being a forensic scientist, I will be a bit more confident.
Knowing that you have not done nothing wrong.
Yes, and I can demonstrate it.
Thank you. Guys, so if you ever find yourself in a situation, this is, I hope, I'm interested to know if you can endorse this advice. This world is full of uncertainties. If you don't want to find yourself in the wrong place, do forensic science.
Maybe it's a good start. However, I wish we had a society that is a little bit more, you know, fairer and consistent.
Fair and consistent.
Yes. So that, you know, if I did this, then...
As long as you did nothing wrong.
Yes. Unasikianga watu in other places, they go report themselves to police. Yeah. Oh, this happened. I brought myself to report the issue. Hapa bana, kama mtu hakukuona
Usipee msichana lift.
Hey.
If you are 30 years, wachana na msichana wa 20.
Especially those ones who have been dragged. We good Samaritan. Akiamka akumbuki.
So, basi this means that hii culture ya umeenda club, right? Umeenda club, alafu you wanna meet a stranger, umkatie hiyo siku na muende naye kwako. It's people playing with fire every day.
Yes. Kwanza hiyo ni mbaya sana. Yeah. Hapa Riruta. Yeah. I've seen 2 boys who lost their lives like that.
Boys?
2 boys who lost their lives too hivyo kimchezo.
What happened?
They were in a club and for some reason, I think it used to happen back then. Mi naenda na dem, unalipa entry. But ukishalipa entry, dem akiingia huko ndani, amepata sasa maboy. Now you're beginning to feel, you know, cheated. And then kidogo, I think they felt we need something. Wakamnyang'anya necklace. They want
sort of like to pay themselves back.
Yes, back for unazaje
access.
Kufanya tuingie na wewe alafu, you know. But then this lady for some reason somehow called the police from one of those nearby police stations. Wakakuja. But then this person walimnyang'anya necklace, they kind of just, you know, the lady got into a conversation with them after Masha called police, and now they're talking in Apple Club. Yeah, police wamesha respond, wamekuja. Police kuwakuja kuwapata. You know, also police were not very like professional about it.
Yes.
Wakafungulia risasi. Kuwapata, the gentleman wakatoka.
They started running. Yes.
Ndio hao. So, you know, sasa when they knew it was a lady, nawambia, they're still here, wameniweka. Ndio hao, ndio. So they're running, ukashutiwa.
Just like that.
And that's the way it ended. And now those are some of the cases I'm telling you where, as the investigator, you know the truth. You get. Now, later, unakuja kusikia this lady saying, enyewe, you know, yeah, nilikuwa nataka washiku wanirudishie.
Yes.
Nini yangu.
But they died.
Na pia nikaambiwa if I say wakukuwa wa ABCD, you know, yeah. Sometimes also training, sometimes it's a bit of a problem because you find that the reaction causes a bad action, which necessitates a cover-up. Yeah. So
when you know such things, do you now conclude that, sawa basi, at least I know the truth, the guys are dead, there's no bringing them back. You go with the narrative, ama there are actions you can take as an investigator.
Like I said earlier, it's the biggest nightmare for an investigator. Knowing the absolute truth and you cannot prove it.
Knowing the absolute truth and you cannot prove it.
That is the worst nightmare for an investigator.
Yes, and thank you for always being good vibes. Someone reached out to me, alikuwa nakutafuta from our last conversation. Alikuwa ataka amefanya criminology. Na nikakuforwardia. Did they reach out?
Forwarded to personal?
No, yes, I forwarded, you told me, was it a CV? Mtu alinitumia kwa email, they needed internship for someone in your organization. Did they reach out?
Probably if they did not make reference to the fact that they're the ones who you would recommend. Although quite a number of people reach out and we try to take a bit.
Okay. Is there an opportunity for wale watu wanatafuta kazi?
Absolutely. We are trying to grow. Now this is for SOMO Group. We're trying to grow the company into an actual practice for the industry. So that is now not just an issue of trading and retaining for SOMO Group, but we are training investigators for the mass market, for private practice, especially when it comes to defense-related investigation work.
Na mnajiamini. I've seen a proposal written to, is it the School of Law?
No, to LSK.
To LSK?
Yes.
Na mnajiamini na capacity ya...
Absolutely. When it comes to forensic-related issues.
In Kenya?
Nowhere else you'd find that people deeply understand forensics and how it interplays with our legal system.
Yes.
And what we are missing out of it.
Okay.
The way the team at SOMO Group does.
Okay.
So our actual core practice is issues of forensic science.
Sawa.
Yeah.
Sawa. Tunaweka link ya website ya SOMO Group kwa description ya hii video. So if you want to reach out, get in touch, understand their services, please consider yourself plugged. Asante sana.
Thank you very much.
Thank you sana. Always so much fun and intriguing. Nikiendelea na swali lingine hatutamaliza story hapa.
Kabisa.
Asante.
Nishukuru sana.
Haya.